If I had to pick just one out of all the reasons why I love this book, then this would be that one. This one book has had the most impact in my life this year and probably one of the best books I've read when it comes to managing personal finance. So much so that I connected with the author himself on LinkedIn and initiated a conversation with him. And the book I'm talking about here is, drum roll please, ta-da! The Psychology of Money. And in this video, I'll go through 6 key learnings and takeaways that I've received from this book that is sure to help you grow financially and build wealth in abundance. Especially point 5 because I talk about the perfect savings portfolio in that one. So do stick around till the end. Let's start off with a crowd favorite, the power of compounding. This man, Warren Buffett. Look at that smug smile of his. Well, he has all the rights to smile because his net worth as of making this video is $117 billion. But let me give you a fact that's going to blow you away. About $116.7 billion of his net worth he only accumulated after his 50th birthday. That's more than 99.7% of his wealth. What the f? And all this is possible because of the power of compounding. Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world, said Albert Einstein. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. When it comes to investing, everyone is trying their best to time the market and invest when the time is right. But one fundamental this book underscores time and again is time in the market is more important than timing the market. The longer you can be in the market, that is, the longer you can play the game, the better your odds are at making money. Difference between rich and wealthy. These words are used interchangeably by society, but there's a fundamental difference here between the two. Rich is more about showing the world your wealth by spending a lot, while being wealthy is all about being smart with your money. You can be rich and still go broke. How many times have you seen this, right? Mike Tyson, Lindsay Lohan, Nirav Modi, Vijay Mallya, Michael freaking Jackson. Some of the biggest earners also ended up filing for bankruptcy. Being a millionaire and spending $1 million are two very different things. But we assume that they're similar because we believe what we see. Why? Well, you can't see $1 million saved in someone's bank account, but you can definitely see the items they bought with $1 million. That's why the name of the game is keeping money as opposed to spending it. And that's what will make you wealthy and truly rich. By the way, there are a lot of people who think they can't become wealthy because they don't earn as much. That's some A-grade bullshit right there. Becoming wealthy has less to do with how much you earn and more to do with how much you save. You could have a high income or salary, but you can't become wealthy if you don't have a high savings rate. So aspire to be wealthy instead of being rich. The factor of luck and risk. When we look at people who have seen success, we assume it's only because of their hard work. And when you look at someone who has failed at something, we assume it's only because of bad choices. The only thing true about that statement is that we are quick at judging people. We usually never factor in luck and risk. Sometimes good decisions lead to poor financial outcomes, and sometimes bad decisions lead to good financial outcomes. You have to account for the role of luck and risk. Okay, here's a quote from the book. It's a freaking goldmine. Pause if you need to, read it and let it sink in. Luck and risk are both the reality that every outcome in life is guided by forces other than individual effort. They both happen because the world is too complex to allow 100% of your actions to dictate 100% of your outcomes. Okay, so the biggest takeaway here is when we study other successful people and their financial life, don't try to do exactly what they did, because circumstances can be very different for you and that person. So instead, focus on broad patterns and trends. And this is equally true for non-financial fields like content creation and being an entrepreneur, freelancer, whatever. Account for the fact that there are things outside your control. And the next point will show you one way you can do that. Room for error. When I'm doing my financial planning for some future expense, I always round up and also add a buffer of say 10 to 15% at least. So if I'm planning a trip that will cost me about say $3,000, then I'd keep aside about $3,500 or so just to be on the safe side, because that's just how I've always been. It could be overly practical, and sometimes it can come across as negative or pessimistic thinking because you're planning for things when it doesn't go according to plan. But it's worked wonders for me, and it's always ensured that I've ended up in the positive. And this book really reinforced that big time. So it's always good to account for some buffer or room for error so that you can be at peace even when things don't go according to plan. And more often than not, things don't go according to plan. The perfect savings portfolio. This is what most matured adults are trying to figure out. What is the best savings portfolio? Here's a short answer to this. The perfect savings portfolio is the one that allows you to sleep peacefully at night. Not the answer you were expecting. Okay, before you click away, Hear me out. Most people go online and search for what the best savings portfolio should look like, but they forget two very important words here. For me. We see someone who's successful with their savings portfolio and decide to replicate it as is. But they may have a very different personality compared to ours, along with different goals too. They could also have more risk tolerance. They might have dedicated time to buying and selling stocks on the market every day. They might also be making far more money than you do. So the first thing you need to understand is what your personal goals are when it comes to financial planning. What are you investing for? What are you saving for? How can you improve it so that it works for you? These are all tough questions that demand our time and effort because that's the only thing that will satisfy you. For me, it's very clear. I want a portfolio that I can check up on once every 6 months or so because I'm looking at long-term financial planning and I don't have the time to look at the market every single day, and I don't mind being slightly risky with my investments too. But then again, I've diversified it enough so that I can sleep peacefully at night. Freedom and time. Whew, this one's the mother of all reasons why I work super hard and try to save more. If I had to pick just one out of all the reasons why I love this book, then this would be that one. Nothing sums it up better than this excerpt from the book. The ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want, is priceless. It is the highest dividend money pays. A couple of years into my corporate job, I realized that if I continued down this path, then it would be a never-ending one. Of course, I might end up earning a lot of money. I'd have my salary credited every month at the same time. But what I didn't have too much control of was my time, which in my opinion is by far the most important and limited resource for all of us. If you lose an iPhone, you can buy another iPhone. If you lose some money, you can somehow earn it back. Heck, if you lose your job, you can somehow get another job. But you lose time and there's nothing you can do to get it back. Unless you figured out time travel. Then in that case, slide into my DMs, yo. You can work super hard for 20 or 30 years and then retire and enjoy all of that money you've saved. But you can't enjoy it as a 20-year-old or as a 30-year-old. The more you have your finances sorted, the more control you have over your time. And that's why I continue to work hard and save hard so that I can enjoy doing all these things through my 30s, 40s, and even 50s and so forth. And this book just really drove that message home. These are just some of the key takeaways I had from the book, and I'm hoping that you learned something from this video. But my bigger hope is that you don't stop here. I would highly recommend getting a copy of the book yourself, read and take in everything it has to offer. I don't normally recommend a book this much, but this one's going into my all-time favorites collection, and I'm certain I'm going to reread this a couple of times in the future too. If this video was helpful to you, then do hit the like button and share it with your friends and family members so that I can help them on their financial journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Go check out the book, people!